At the outset, I guess I would say I don't feel really passionately one way or the other on e-scooters in general, although I don't have any problem. If you want to have one or use one, have at it. But I do have some questions. Just following up on Representative White's line of questioning there, you said that your policy is $1 million. Is that per incident, per vehicle, or I believe you said it's in total? Is that correct?
Representative, I believe it was a per occurrence.
Okay. Could you tell me other cities in the Northeast that are similar to Philadelphia? Let's just talk about Philadelphia for the minute, where you've implemented these kind of scooter sharing type scenarios.
Sure. I think the two most similar would be Baltimore and Washington, D.C.
Do those cities, again, coming back, I hate to keep coming back to the liability issue, but do those cities have any caps on liability per occurrence or pain and suffering or anything like that?
Those two cities have similar insurance requirements that we've discussed here, the commercial general liability insurance, which is what we carry in both of those places. I believe in that $1 million per occurrence and then $2 to $5 million in aggregate.
How many claims do your organizations anticipate in a year from the result of folks who've been injured on these scooters, either by the scooters or injured riding them?
So Representative, thank you for the question. I think it places a little bit into context the magnitude of the issue that we're facing. Our insurance is I would personally think is well more than adequate to cover these issues. And in fact, we don't think that we're certainly not in a position where we're anywhere close to exhausting it. For context, I think since the industry launch, we've taken about 100 million miles around the world. We've never had a pedestrian fatality because of a scooter running into them.
Yeah, I'm not talking about fatalities here. I'm talking about the possibility of you being able to remain a going concern. I'm just being very candid with you. There's all sorts of lawsuits in Pennsylvania that are very expensive, particularly in the city of Philadelphia. I come back to how many claims do you anticipate in a given year? And you can even maybe speak to experience in some of these other cities where something's been implemented. You've mentioned Baltimore and Washington. How many claims do you anticipate in a year, either from folks who've been injured by these scooters, third parties, or folks who are riding the scooters and are injured in some way on them? You must have a number. You must have some idea of how many claims you anticipate, how many injuries you anticipate.
Representative, I'm sorry. I actually don't think I have. I actually don't think I have anticipated that, but we're happy to look into the question and get back to you.
I find that incredibly remarkable. I'll just be very candid with you. If I were opening up a business that rented Frisbees in the city of Philadelphia, the very first thing I would be interested in talking to my insurance company would be how many frivolous or non-frivolous lawsuits are going to result from people misusing my Frisbees or even correctly using my Frisbees. I'm not an attorney. You guys are. I can't believe you haven't thought about this.
Representative, my apologies. I think that there is. I think that I am personally unable to answer your question at this time, but I am sure that this is something that we've, of course, looked into.
Just going back to kind of the coverage limits. So Spin is a subsidiary of Ford Motor Company, and we've worked at great detail and great length with their Office of General Counsel and Risk Management. We carry what I think is a slightly different aggregate limit on these insurance policies. We have a $10 million per occurrence, $10 million in the aggregate. So there, I think, has generally been a trend to carry a primary coverage and stacking it with an umbrella policy. We've gone the route of doing it all under a primary so that in the event that there is an incident, we're not having to work across multiple insurers and kind of some of these more catastrophic events. On the claims piece of it, we do have, I would candidly say, quite a few that come in. They can be anything from your kind of scrapes and bruises to more serious ones. And so I think the question more becomes the severity of the incident and not so much the number of them. But be happy to follow up with you in writing on kind of expected claims.
I appreciate that. My last question, Mr. Chairman, I appreciate your indulgence. Do your organizations, if you're contemplating a scooter sharing type operation, be it in, let's just say for now, Philadelphia, would your organizations set that that scooter sharing arrangement up using an LLC or a corporation that's specifically renting scooters within the city of Philadelphia, or would you be doing it under your broader corporate entity?
Broader corporate entity.
I think that's right.
To my knowledge, all of our operations in the United States are under one corporate entity.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.